This is a Beanbag Chair Media production.
Have you ever had a conversation with someone and they interrupt you and tell you that they don't like it, and so you just lash out at somebody? Well, that's what today's episode is about.
Is that what it's about?
That's what today's episode is about.
I guess technically, yes, it is. Hi, anime family.
Hello.
And welcome back to another episode of
Anime Noise.
Beautiful harmonies. Killed it.
Yep.
We are in sync today. Today was a long fucking day.
Today was a long fucking day.
Today was a long ass day. I don't know if it's just because it's Thursday.
We had a tornado warning.
Yeah, it was a warning or watch?
Not sure. Something with tornadoes.
Something with tornadoes. It was really stormy and shitty today. And, you know, we got to start driving to the office now.
It's gross.
It's gross.
All of it's gross.
We're here. We made it.
We did it.
We did it. And you know what today's episode is about?
Grossness.
No, it's not. It's about rawness and raw emotion, that's for sure. Tell them what it's about, Emily.
So this lovely, possibly angsty song showed up in Season 3, Episode 10, titled What Was Missing, while trying to open the gate of the Door Lord to retrieve the stolen items from Princess Bubblegum, Jake, Finn, and Marceline. Bima was there too, but...
We didn't tell them it was from Adventure Time.
Well,
We skipped right to the summary?
I did. I skipped right to it.
Well...
It's from Adventure Time, and if you don't know the names Marceline, Jake, Finn, and Princess Bubblegum, then you're living under a goddamn rock.
Well, I hope you read the description before you just jumped right into this episode. But yes, today we are talking about one very important song by an amazing blood-sucking bassist. I guess she's not really blood-sucking. She's a red-sucking
bassist.
Either way, with a red bass. And yeah, this song is called "I'm Just Your Problem," sung by Marceline in Adventure Time. And you already got the summary. So I guess, without further ado, let's get in to the details, huh?
Yes.
Let's get into the credentials.
So this episode aired September 26, 2011. So we feel real old because that was 9 years ago.
That was 11 years ago.
11 years ago? No.
Almost 11 years ago because it's not September 26th. But
okay. Well, yeah.
Did you forget what year it was?
Dude, I
guess 2 years just went by like...
Stupid, crazy, fast.
Yeah, it's time soup.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk about this song. Not only is this one of my favorite songs from Adventure Time, just because of the manner of how Marceline is so raw, but it was also written by Rebecca Sugar, who is like the best person ever.
Yeah, if you guys don't know Rebecca Sugar, you should look her up. I didn't know that much about Rebecca Sugar, but Emily definitely does. She's a big fan of not only Adventure Time, but also Steven Universe, who really kind of introduced you to Rebecca Sugar, huh?
Yes.
Sort of. I mean, you'd seen Adventure Time first. But...
Yeah, but Rebecca Sugar is the creator of Steven Universe, so her name comes up a lot more often. And so when I first started watching it, I wanted to know more about this person because the songs in Steven Universe are fucking gorgeous.
Oh, they're amazing.
And the artwork and the messages. And I encourage you, especially if you have children, have them watch that show because, my God, if you want them to be well-rounded and know about a bunch of issues and like handle it in a way that Steven is written to handle it, have them watch it. And if you haven't watched it, definitely.
Definitely watch it.
So we're not going to talk too much about Rebecca Sugar because I want to save that for her own creation of a song. But particularly for Adventure Time and the character of Marceline, Pendleton Ward hired Rebecca Sugar on as a storyboard assistant in season 1. And she immediately proved herself. She has a ton of background on comics and basically promoted her to storyboard artist within the first month of her tenure there and told her to put as much of herself into writing for the character. So a lot of Marceline's actions and words and her music are typically written by Rebecca Sugar. So much that this song particularly was written after one of her breakups, and she is quoted to say it was very hard to write because it was so close to her. So I can imagine that
But yeah,
that putting yourself into a character and having to write about things that Marceline goes through, especially with Princess Bubblegum and with her dad and everything else, like the character has a lot of
real,
emotions.
raw emotion.
Yeah.
It definitely felt real. It felt like, I mean, you can hear that everything that we just described in that song while she's playing. And what I love too, which we'll get into, is the fact that like the bass itself, it's kind of sung and played a bit rubato, like singer-songwriter playing by herself, not caring, just pouring all that emotion into that moment.
Yeah. And, midway through song, and the whole point of the essentially doors of truth was that you were supposed to play from your emotion. And they realized that, of course, like, much later in the episode, they're like, oh my God, the doors are going to open because you're singing from your heart. You're singing your soul. And so it's really nice to see a song that feels so real and something that you can relate to, because, Princess Bubblegum in the middle is like, stop, Marceline, that's so distasteful. And so that's where it becomes like, I'm just your problem.
Song.
And and I mean, it's not like it wasn't raw to begin with, because the doors were already starting to like sing for her, because she was singing about like things that she does. She's like, what is she talking about?
We'll play it. We'll play it for you.
So it's really raw to start with, but then she's like, oh, you don't like that? And pours
she's
out.
talking about like bearing you with her sound. Like she's being very attitude Marceline, but
very angsty.
Very, very angsty. And then all of a sudden she gets interrupted and she's like, oh yeah? Oh, you want to fight? You want to hear something real? Let's fucking go. And then lets it all out, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and Marceline has a lot of songs in Adventure Time. So, Garrett, why don't you tell us about who
her voice actor is?
Yeah.
So, Marceline's voice actor, she is voiced by Olivia Olson, and she's a pretty fucking talented bitch, I'll tell you that. She is the daughter of Martin Olson, a comedian, composer, jack of all trades, who is the very man who helped SpongeBob SquarePants come to fruition, and also the voice of Hudson Abadir, Marceline's father. She went even so far to dress very similarly to Marceline when reading her lines and admired the character's fashion design. I think that's pretty cool. Got into character.
Got into character, which if you're going to get into character for Marceline, I assume you probably have like...
She wearing a bass the whole time?
I don't know about all that.
A red axe bass?
I think it was more along the lines of like her clothing.
I love the fact that it's actually an axe, because anybody in the rock and roll industry knows your guitar is your weapon, and it is it's your axe. It's your battle axe. And it's literally her battle axe. So yeah, this song truly represents the anger that Marceline feels towards Princess Bubblegum, who we all know they are meant to be together. And we see it in the mini-series Distant Lands.
That was good. I was glad to see them make a comeback with Distant Lands.
Me too. I love Adventure Time.
And I loved that episode where they did show Marceline and Princess Bubblegum together. That was very heartwarming and necessary.
Definitely.
We all needed to see that.
Definitely. I highly recommend watching Adventure Time if you're into psychedelics.
Oh, are you going to tell them about our adventure we had into...
I don't think we can describe it that well now that we're sober, but...
I can describe it well. I don't know what you're talking about.
Basically, every time that I've watched Adventure Time while I was tripping on psychedelics, I found something eye-opening. It's got to be like they do it on purpose. But everything just feels right in the moment. And you learn something and you get all these crazy epiphanies. I highly recommend doing psychedelics while you're watching Adventure Time, or watching Adventure Time while you're on psychedelics, especially if you're coming down.
Yeah, the last time we did that, we ran into the mini series.
Oh, Marceline
within the series.
Yeah, the mini series about Marceline in the series.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
It was so great.
It was. We just happened to come across that. Like we wanted to watch one episode, and then the next episode was that little series, and we're like, okay, we're hooked.
Yeah.
I'm glad we watched that and not Midnight Gospel.
Oh, that would have been very emotional.
Very emotional.
Also good to watch too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh man.
So a little bit more about the song. So the song features Marceline on bass and vocals, Jake on the viola, which I love, Finn beatboxing, and Princess Bubblegum using BMO as a synthesizer.
I know, she like opens them up and reprograms them.
Yeah. Now, Adventure Time has over 200 songs, like, in the series.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
I didn't realize.
over 200 songs. You can find this particular track and 47 others on the first volume of the Adventure Time original soundtrack. It was released April of 2019 by the Cartoon Network music label, and there are a total of 5 volumes of music from the series.
Damn. Yeah, that's a lot of music.
It's a lot of music.
I'm glad we're taking it one at a time.
Yes, that would be a lot.
Yeah, are you guys ready to listen to it? Because I am.
I'm ready.
It's time. It is time. Adventure Time. Let's go.
Come on, grab your friends.
And then reprogram them to be a
See if you
synthesizer.
hacks can keep up with my raw talent.
I love how Finn is just beatboxing.
I'm gonna bury you in the ground. I'm gonna bury you.
You notice how it's like right in time right now?
Drink the red from
They got everybody's in sync.
Everybody's.
And then synthesizer stops.
Too distasteful.
Oh, you don't like that?
But Marceline's like,
And
okay,
now
let me
here we
change
go.
my tune.
It's rubato now.
Sorry, I don't treat you like a goddess. Is that what you want me to do?
I love how they turn up the bass and distort it more.
Like highlight the bass more.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, oh, Marceline's really singing now.
Is that why you always avoid me? That must be such an inconvenience to you. Well, I'm just your problem.
So raw.
I'm just your problem. It's like I'm not even a person, am I?
I love how you can hear the voices from the door in the background.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have to justify what I do. I shouldn't have to prove anything to you.
The little twinkles.
Look at the door.
And little voices in the background.
I shouldn't have to be the one that makes up with you. So why do I want to?
Chord progression's super cool. Borrows chords from different keys, a little dissonant.
To bury you in the ground and drink the blood from your.
Ultimate frustration.
Ultimate frustration. Yeah.
Yeah, so, she's coming in, she's just singing a song, she's trying to get through her shit and like wants to open this door, and they're all working together, and then Princess Bubblegum comes in, is a little bitch, and just is like, no, that's gross, don't do that. And so she's like, okay, well, fine, you know what? Like, now I'm mad at you. Now I'm revenge singing. Revenging.
Revenge singing, yes. It is. You know what? If I tried to cover this on the bass, like to the T, because I'm kind of a stickler sometimes for getting things absolutely like they played it the first time on the recording. And if I try to do that, that would be so difficult because it's out of time, it's raw. The passes of each measure, like when she comes back around again to the same spot in the song, it's different every time. And I love that. It's so cool.
It is. And the emotional feel from the song, like when you're watching the episode, you know, after this particular scene, like she runs off, like she's walking away. And so then there's another song that plays. And the whole scene is just so well written. And really, like, my whole point of this song is, like, there's going to be conflict amongst your peers or your relationship. And, obviously Marceline has always had feelings for Princess Bubblegum. And we never really know how Princess Bubblegum feels about her because there's always that, like, thing between her and Finn as well. So
Was also, I mean, Princess Bubblegum has a lot going on. She's a
princess.
She's a leader. She's also a genius. And
Scientist.
she's a genius scientist. So she's got a lot going on up in that head. And I don't think gives herself the time that she truly needs to process all of her emotions.
Yeah, and Marceline comes from a huge background of abandonment and with the Ice King, or what was his name? What's
She's
his
just a
actual name?
flying bat of emotions. That's what she is.
Essentially, yeah.
She's a bat out of hell.
So you really get to like see that rawness on her feelings for Princess Bubblegum, and so it's just interesting to see the transition and how she just gets so angry. Like, sorry, I don't treat you like a goddess. Is that what you want me to do? Like, I don't think Princess Bubblegum expects anybody to treat her like a goddess.
No.
But
And she's taking it a little bit, she's letting out all of her emotion.
Yeah.
So it all comes out. The thing that I love about the music is like they take the idea that there's no rules on this planet other than the ones that we create for ourselves. And I think we always listen in a musical sense, we always hear that formulated top 40 just kind of drilled into our brains over and over again. So it's really nice to even be take top 40 away and you're listening to what we listen to all the time, classical music, film scores, things that they still have a time signature quite often. It's emotion, but it's refined and practiced and thoroughly thought through and written. And this is just
liberating.
Dump it all out. Dump out everything that you were feeling. Just dump it all out and let it happen. It is liberating. And I love how they don't follow rules. It's so cool.
Like at all. And I think that's really why I wanted to highlight this particular song. There's a ton of songs from Adventure Time that I could have raved on about, but this one was the one that I wanted to talk about it first.
Yeah.
I also think we left our dogs outside.
I think you're right. I think we did leave our dogs outside. Probably for the best.
Probably.
But
I don't really have much more to say about this.
This is a short episode.
This is a short episode, which goes really well with our time frame of this week. It's been a wild ride.
Oh, it's been a long, busy week. And you know what? This is kind of like all the angst and anger that I'm feeling. I'm glad I get to talk about it with this song because I don't know if you guys know, there's a lot of shit happening in Texas. There's a lot of shit happening
all
in
over
Austin,
the country.
All over the country. And there's a lot of shit happening with us. And a lot of changes that we're going through that aren't always, they're not actually the best. They're not the best changes. It's not always changes for the better. I mean, we have a lot of that too. But they're stressful changes and a lot of work. So we got to get through it. Maybe we should just dump out our emotions into our instruments.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be squealy.
That's okay too. Make it squealy. Call it Squealy Dan.
There's a lot of rawness that I think is necessary to release when there's a lot of stressful situations. And no matter how it is, if it's not music for you, maybe it's art or maybe it's running or, maybe it's just fucking sitting and playing Nintendo Switch and killing some bitches.
Yeah.
I
highly recommend Nazi Zombies. That's always a classic.
I don't care how you do it. And I don't care if you have to set aside time in your day to release that stress because fucking life is stressful. And for instance, in this song, it just takes one person saying something that just really rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, sets you right off.
And you should take that opportunity, maybe not to their face. And maybe it doesn't have to be directed towards them. Maybe it's not them who actually pissed you off. They just happened to say something at that exact time that just fucked you over.
It's triggered you.
Just triggered you. And I hope that everybody has a way to release that stress. I wish I could find mine. It's not easy being in a position that you don't have a release. So I hope that you have that for yourself because you should be like Marceline. Be like Marceline and just get it off your chest with however it feels comfortable and best and lifting for you.
And if you're not a musician and you'd like to just try out releasing your emotions on something that makes noise,
Scream.
I mean, screaming's always an option. I was going to say find a piano. There's usually a public piano somewhere. There's one at the airport that you can go play. At least there's one in our airport. Drums, anything that you can find. Percussion instruments are usually the way to go. If you want to hit some shit and make
Bang
some
on
noise.
some shit.
Yeah, do that. Take advantage of that. And if you have a melody in your head, even if it's just a scream, hit the piano and scream. And then hit it in a different spot. Scream again. And you never know what's going to come out. But it might just be liberating enough to get you to tomorrow.
Indeed.
And I think we don't need an outro for this. Just look in the description. There's all the links down there.
Just go enjoy your life.
Yeah. Happy fucking Thursday. We hope you have a great weekend. And if you need somebody to talk to,
Always reach out to us.
reach out to us. We love you guys, and tune in next week for another episode of
Anime noise.
Bitch.
Bye, guys.
This has been a Beanbag Chair Media production.